If you are posting short-form video content without captions, you are not just likely losing viewers in those first few seconds, you are possibly missing a huge opportunity. And today I'm going to share some info to back up that statement. I'm going to show you how Canva has upgraded their captions tool for 2026, and if you stick around, we're also going to take a look at some really stunning examples of creators who are using captions not just as an accessibility feature, but as a really powerful visual communication device that actually helps people remember them and their brand. And this can all be applied and done for free just using Canva. Now, I know that adding captions is yet another step in what can already be quite a lot of work. So before we get into the how, I just want to quickly share why it's actually worth it. There is a lot of data to support this, but a few stats really stood out to me. A Verizon and Publicis Media study found that viewers are up to 80% more likely to actually finish a video when captions are there. And half of them said they specifically prefer watching with the sound off. A separate study found captions increase watch time by nearly 40%. And on the accessibility side, globally there are around 400 million people with disabling hearing loss who rely on captions. And research shows they're actually more likely than hearing people to use social media. That's a huge potential audience, and they're actively looking for content that includes them. And then there's a bit of cognitive science that I find genuinely interesting. It's called dual coding theory, and what it's done is shown that audio and images are stored in separate areas of our short-term memory. And when we pair visual information with spoken language, retention is significantly better than when it's just audio and that's the only input. In other words, captions don't just help people hear you, they help people remember your message. So the point is really pretty clear here. Captions help retention, completion rates, reach, and they actually make your content genuinely more inclusive. So hopefully that's convinced you. Now let's hop into Canva and I will show you how it's done. Inside Canva, I have a talking head video that I have uploaded and I've inserted it into a YouTube short design. And to activate captions, it's really simple. The old way was to just go to text on the left, under dynamic text choose captions, and you can still do that. But Canva have made it even easier, and so when you click on your video, the contextual toolbar at the top now has a shortcut directly to captions. Once you click that, it will open on the left-hand side a panel that gives you access to a whole range of new caption styles. And these are a fantastic starting point, and they give you a whole range of different options. Before we go into those, I just wanted to point out at the bottom here, you have the option to choose what track you want the captions to be applied to. And another part of the upgrade is that you can now choose just audio files to transcribe and become just captions. I've got this one test video in here, but if you have multiple videos, make sure that you've selected just the one that you want to be transcribed so that it doesn't come up with any errors. And then when you're ready, you can have a look through the styles and choose one that's a good starting point for you. And this can make a big difference to pace as well as style. So for example, things that pop in word by word are more dynamic and feel more exciting and fast-paced. Things that are a little slower and just have a more subtle highlight feel a little more elegant and they have a more calming or considered approach. Now, when you do select one of the styles, you can see that you have some options to change colors immediately here, but unfortunately you can't select from your brand palette here yet, so I tend to just leave it as default and I'll change it once it's in. When I'm ready, I choose Generate Captions, and depending on how long your video is, it will take a few seconds to a couple of minutes to put all of the captions in. Now, immediately, if you click on captions in this contextual toolbar at the top, you can edit the actual transcript. Just click on the little pencil, change anything that you want to change. And then, of course, you also can edit your style. Now, if you want to change this style, anytime during the process, you can just go back to the styles box and just click on one of the others, and then it will automatically replace them. And you can see because this one is word by word, there are multiple text boxes that have been added at the bottom, and I can always go back to the style that I previously selected. One of the great things about these styles as a starting point is that they are still completely editable. So when I click on the captions in my video, you will see that the entire captions track gets selected. Now this is important because you can also edit individual pieces of the captions track, and you do that by clicking on them in the timeline, and you'll see just that one particular section is highlighted. And so you can change the design, the text, etc. in just that one. But if you click on it in the video, they're all selected, and you can then make changes to all of the captions. I'm going to move these up a bit so that they're more central to the page, and you'll see that's applied it across the board. And I'm going to make some other changes. Now, first of all, I'm going to change the font, and I'm going to use Playfair Display, which is just a nice serif font. It gives me some variations to play with. And the other thing I want to do is then change colors and effects. Now, you'll see there is a white background here, but as I play, you'll also see that there is a pink highlight. So there are two things at play here, and we can change them individually and separately. So clicking on it again, I can go to Effects, and you'll see that there is a background applied to my text. And I'm just going to click on it again to deselect it or choose Remove Effect from the bottom here, and the background is gone. I'm going to change my font color to white, and then I want to change the animation color or the highlight color that's behind my text. And to do that, I go back to Animate, and you'll see at the top here, there are 3 new animations if you have chosen one of the captions that highlights the text as you speak. There is the Reveal option, which basically keeps everything semi-transparent until you say the word. The Highlight option, which puts a color box behind your text. And there is the Snake option, which puts an underline under the word as you say it. And you can change the color of these, and you can also change the intensity on some of them. I'm going to stick with Reveal for this one because I think it's nice and subtle, and it fits my brand style and the way that I present. Now I'm going to add some highlights, and this is where it can get really creative. So for example, in here where I talk about bringing good accessible design to everyone. Where it says to everyone, I'm going to click on just that one, double click on the text, and I'm then going to increase the size a bit. I'm going to make it italic, and I'm just going to leave it at that. And now you'll see as we play through, it adds even more attention to that particular one because I've changed it a little. You can play around with these and do anything that you can to a normal text box. Just make sure that if you want to just change one of them, you select on it in the timeline. The other thing that you can even do is to delete one of them if you wanted to add in a text box that looks completely different, or maybe put the text behind you with a cutout. You can use layers within the timeline, and you can actually delete just one of those and add in your own text box to replace it just in that gap in the timeline. You have so much control that you can experiment and try different things with it and play around with something that really enhances your brand style. If you are enjoying this video, I'd love to invite you to join my weekly newsletter called Meaningful Creations. It's where I share new content and resources, creative inspiration, creator profiles, and insights from a lifetime working as a creative director, a brand designer, and a small business owner. It's basically a personal weekly letter to fellow creatives from me. The link is on the screen right now and in the description below, and I would genuinely love to have you there. Okay, so while simple, legible captions absolutely do the job, spending a bit of time on how your captions look and making sure they're reinforcing your brand identity can actually help you stand out in a pretty crowded feed. Whether it's using a font that feels hand-drawn and warm, or overlapping simple text in a way that feels editorial and really considered, or just placing your captions somewhere other than just dead center bottom. The difference between captions as an afterthought and captions as a design choice is honestly really noticeable. And there are loads of creators who have really established caption styles that I think is genuinely worth looking at for inspiration. People and brands who have elevated captions from just a nice-to-have to a design choice that helps build their brand and communicate their message better. Now, these are obviously just a few to give you ideas and inspire you, but the point is simply this. Your captions are on screen for the duration of your video, so it's worth being intentional about where they are, what they look like, and not just what they say, but what they say about you. And that's it for today, folks. Captions, not just an accessibility tool, not just a retention hack, but a useful part of your visual communication and brand toolkit, if you're willing to give them a bit of time and a bit of thought. Let me know in the comments if you found this helpful, and of course, I would really appreciate it if you would hit the like and the subscribe button, because it all helps me to grow this channel so that I can keep creating free content like this for you. Have a fabulous week, folks, and I will see you in the next one.